It is fun to see an engine build for a popular old classic muscle car. In this case, the engine is a 350 bored to 355, sat for 5 years before getting hauled off to Callaway Customs in Paris, Texas. The engine is going into this 1972 Chevelle, also dropped off at Callaway Customs in mid-February 2025. Owner is a super easygoing, great guy, wanted a lot of work done. It is a frame-on restoration / resto mod. I think you will enjoy watching this old muscle car return beyond its former glory. Hey, hello, how are you? Welcome to Road Odyssey. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Please consider subscribing down below. I would appreciate that very much. And remember, view. That's what makes the YouTube world go round. Thank you again, and let's continue. It was on February 14th that this 1972 Chevy Chevelle showed up at the Callaway Customs shop. It did run and steer just fine. Owner had the car for many years, getting parts and a replacement engine, etc. He found the dash many moons ago, and it came from a Monte Carlo. He also made sure he investigated as much of the costs as possible to come up with a good budget. And that included talking to Callaway Customs for their advice and estimations of unforeseen costs as well. Let's look at this fine specimen of a Chevy Chevelle, of which he has had for 15 years, a base 1972 307 Classic that the majority of classic car enthusiasts love to see on the road and at car shows. This unit is in good shape. It could run off the trailer, which was a very good start, no pun intended. The most concerning body damage is the front fenders, or was the front fenders, having bad rust damage. They had ordered new fenders, so those came in. They're already at the paint shop at this time for making this video. Also, there's some damage on the rear quarters, but not too bad. The owner knew he needed a new interior fender well as well. Also, the frame bushings will be replaced at a little later date once it's painted. All in all, the car is solid. For the powertrain, the Chevelle had the original 307, a 020 block, and the transmission was a turbo 350. It will now have an El Camino 350 engine bored to 355 that was acquired 5 years ago, and it is a 010 block. The air intake is a Edelbrock 2101 Performer, designed to improve your vehicle's torque and throttle response. Plus a comp cams rocker kit, nice. While the car came in with a 350 turbo trans, it will leave with a 700 R4 trans bought 10 years ago and rebuilt, of course, just waiting for this car. Again, fantastic planning. The label reads the Jasper brand 441650 as a reference or part number. A remanufactured trans giving a good Class 1 or Class 2 level of performance. One of the best, most reliable transmission GM has made, according to Mitty. The new differential is from a 1968 El Camino SS. Scott Callaway reminded me that the reason for the differential swap is that the El Camino has a 12-bolt differential and is a limited slip, which that original Chevelle, it just had a 10-bolt non-limited slip diff, and they were just weaker. So this new one, from the 68 El Camino SS, will be great. Also, at the very beginning when the owner dropped off the car, he also dropped off more. He was well prepared. It is wonderful to see an owner not just drop off the project, but handing off manuals is a huge bonus. Seriously, good shops like Callaway Customs will absolutely use these manuals. I give the owner a huge shout out for doing his research and planning so very well. Now, I want to detour you for a short bit to look at what this second gen Chevelle originally was. Looking at the cowl trim tag located on the driver's side, but more like the hinge pillar or the A pillar. So this cowl tag has the ST72, well, it's a 1972, the 1343-7, that's going to tell you it's a Chevrolet, and it's a Chevelle standard sport coupe, carries 6 passengers. The R is the assembly plant at Arlington, Texas, and the 05430 is simply the unit number. Getting to the 719, that's the trim code, all tan. The A52 just tells us it has a bench front seat. And then the 50 and 50, that's the upper and lower body colors. Again, a tan called Covert Tan. And the 06D0072, I have no idea what that was. Get tired of looking for it, so sorry about that. Looking at the actual VIN, 1C37F2R606965. Again, 1972 Chevrolet, standard car, 2-door sport coupe, 370 V8 2-barrel, assembly plant, Arlington, Texas, and the last 6 digits is the production number. In this case, of course, there were tons of varieties of Chevelles built, being the standard sedans and all that, the Malibus, station wagons, convertibles, etc. In this case, there had been over 49,000 Chevelles built. Just those kind of bases and the SS's and such. By the end of February and 1st of March, a lot of parts had begun to stack up. Vintage Air big box for the AC unit, more Vintage Air parts, plug wires, starter, wiring, and so forth. Summit fuel sending unit, various hoses, POR 15 rust prevention coating or paint, dryer condenser, Carter fuel pump, Excel Extreme 9000 ceramic end plug wires, dampener, timing tab, plug wire separators, MSD blaster, high performance coil, bolt kit for dampener, Power Master performance starter, electric exhaust cutouts, American Auto wiring kit, wonderful products, Dakota Digital displays, Headman headers, shorties, ceramic coated, hush mat soundproofing, and finally the Vintage Air front runner drive system with power steering attachment. All very good parts coming in as Scott is moving a few old good engine parts from the 307 to the 355. Alex did the rust protection of the interior with that POR 15. Alex then removed the brake booster and steering while he and Jason removed the wiring harness. The Callaways reviewed the wiring previously to verify which wires to keep. You should always keep the original wiring for, well, hard to find plug-ins and for referencing new items. Keeping much of the old wiring harness until the new wiring is completed can help. Moving to March 7th, still early March, and Scott had put enough of the 355 together, which he only worked on the top half of the 355, including mainly valve adjustments, gasket replacements, and such. He also did a compression test and oil pressure test. You've noticed that he's repainted the block from that blue to the Chevy red, being either something like Red Hot or Roman red, perhaps. Scott had just begun putting together the vintage air front accessory drive onto the 355. A lot of parts and instructions. A good looking front assembly, all silver and chrome. With constant interruptions, Scott still got it installed in a few hours, well, by the end of the day. This really does look sharp. Super nice. The engine was completely done in just a few more days. I arrived March 17th, a little less than half a month from when the car was dropped off. Not too bad, considering the shop like the Callaway Customs is always multitasking with other cars being worked on. Now it's time to get the full engine start and run on that run stand. Here it goes. To wrap up this video, I want to leave you with the body and paint work that began in April at Tub Restorations just north of Sulphur Springs, Texas. I should pick up with this same topic for the part 2 of this 1972 Chevelle build video series. I only got a little action from the guys removing the rear bumper. All of the body was original except the bottom valance under the bumper was aftermarket. Again, the body bushings looked a little crusty. Frame has surface rust, but it's not bad. Again, this is a frame on restoration. The budget is what it is. The underside will be cleaned and painted as well as possible in the near future. This car is for fun, local shows, and cruising with friends. My plans are to continue with a part 2 of this 1972 Chevelle as more information and things occur in the near future. So I imagine that'll be a couple of months from the release of this. Plus it'll take me time to compile all of that and get this all together and ready for us all to enjoy. Please provide any useful comments down below that would benefit us all. That would be really great. And thank you to the Callaways, and well, that would be Callaway Customs in Paris, Texas, and to Tub Restorations, that's Cecil Tub, just north of Sulphur Springs, Texas, and to Glenn for providing us with this really cool 72 Chevelle. Thank you, Glenn, very much. And with that, please relax, take it easy, enjoy your road odyssey, be a motoring fanatic, and I will see you later. Bye.